Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. I'm Bobby.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nick's cruel uncle, Emilio. And here we are, guys.
And here we are.
How's everybody doing out there? I'm just coming back from a super short vacation. Me and Chadwick, otherwise known as Flopsy from DLG, circa 5 years ago, Chad, about that?
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd you even go on vacation? Just to get away
It
from
was his
kids,
birthday,
man?
and it was his idea. He's like, will you take us down to Mexico for one night? And we're like, yeah. It's the first time they left their baby alone.
Ooh.
Yep. And so they gave her a bowl of cat food and just drove off. I don't know how that worked out. But yeah, we had a really good time. We stayed at a really, really, really nice place. Probably the nicest hotel I've ever been to. And we're a little late today because crossing the border is the son of a bitch sometimes. Even if you're white. I was hoping some of that white privilege would rub off on us, but nope. We waited with everybody else of all colors.
Just walks up to the ticket booth, just points to his arm. He's like, "Get us in?"
Yep.
All right. Well, we've got some stuff to talk about here. Got a pretty good show lined up. Let's start with the on the radar section. I've got quite a few games I want to talk about in this section here. The first one being the Final Fantasy bundle. So I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy games, but Final Fantasy III was one of my favorite games as a kid. They're re-releasing Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and it looks like they are keeping it a little closer to the original than the remake, because they've remade some of these games. I played the remake of 3. In America, it's 3. In Japan, I think it was 6, so they call it Final Fantasy 6.
Jeez.
It's because we're better at math. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, well, I don't know why it is, because there was Final Fantasy.
I literally
1
just
and
told
2.
you.
No, I mean, seriously though, like, why is I would like the real answer on that,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But they're bundling these together, and the price tag is pretty damn high. I was surprised about this. It's $100. Now you get a lot of extras with this, like some digital art books, some soundtracks, and they've redone a few things in this. But I don't think, because a lot of people had problems with the remake of the other ones. They did it for the mobile and then they put it on PC.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm kind of interested in this, but the price tag
They're
is
way
pretty
off, dude.
prohibitive.
They're way off. This should be $30.
Yeah, each individual game is $20 American.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
pretty
It's so
crazy.
funny that you mentioned this. I think the top post today on Reddit in the morning was, this guy has every single Final Fantasy trophy from every single Final Fantasy that's available on the PlayStation Store, and I think it's like
achievements?
11 or 12 of them. Yeah, every achievement.
Yeah.
And he's the only person in the world that is verified to have all of them.
Can you explain what happened in your face like 15 seconds ago?
Did you get really blurry?
No, you burped inside your neck or something. It was really weird.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cruel uncle. This is what I'm here for. He can't fight back. I'm his uncle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right.
But no,
so
it's
So you're not going to pick this up, right?
I don't think so, because you could just load up an emulator and play these games.
Right.
I am kind of interested so they say they've redone the soundtrack, new UI controls, a bestiary, and just, illustrations. They've added a few things, but none of it sounds like it's worth the price tag. So I don't know. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. And I'm waiting to see how people react to it.
Bobby's like, I don't need your bells nor whistles, sir.
All right.
the things you've added to make us all happy. I do not want.
I do not want. I will pass.
All right. Another
So
game
what
I
else we
wanted to
got?
bring up is called Patron. And this game, right off the bat, I looked at it and it immediately reminded me of this game called Banished, which was a simulation city builder game that came out maybe 7 years ago, a while ago. And I was pretty excited about that game, and then I played it and was very underwhelmed. I think a lot of people were. The game never really got that much traction. This looks a lot like it, but they say they've got like if you could scroll back up just a little bit there. Sniper. They've got something a little different. Every city builder has to have something a little different. So they say a survival city builder with a unique social dynamic system.
Mm.
Not sure what that is, but hey, sounds cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Project Winter, Bobby?
No.
Isn't that the one where it's Britain and there's something called like the Great Freeze and you have to keep all your people alive?
No, that's Frostpunk.
Frostpunk.
God.
Frostpunk,
Okay.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say Frostpunk or Project Winter was one of those secret Hitler games, right? Where you're trying to find out who the bad guy is. Or,
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
yeah.
okay.
Did you ever play Frostpunk?
No, never played Frostpunk.
Did you get it free when it was on Epic for free?
Probably. I get all those free games.
He's like, I only log on to get free games, but I don't play them.
Actually, I do play quite a bit of them. I get pretty good value out of it. I
I
sometimes
get good value out of my.
No, I sometimes go and look at my Epic Game Store library and just marvel at how many games I have in there, and I haven't bought a single one. It's
Yeah.
quite a big library,
Jeez.
and it's not. I love Steam, but there's a lot of garbage on Steam.
Yeah.
And so the Epic Game Store is a little more curated, which is kind of nice. So they're all like pretty good games.
Hey Bobby, can we talk about some games, or are you just gonna?
I
talk all
guess,
day?
dude. I guess.
I want to talk
Yeah.
about PICO Park, guys. It's a party game, co-op, 1 to 8 players. You play as these little Lego people, and you can stack on top of each other to try to get puzzles done. I'm looking at 8-player games because I really want to get 8-player going at DLG Con. I didn't know how to do this because I didn't know if one dongle can accept 4 inputs. So I talked to the console master, Zap, and he knew that the Xbox game controllers have a new dongle that it's like $25. I bought it already, and it can accept up to 8 controllers. So you can play these.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you could play these 8-player games with just one dongle. So that's fucking awesome. And this game, it's like a little cutesy game, and almost anything that's going to be 8 players is going to be cutesy because you just can't get a lot
Can't be
of.
serious with 8 players on one thing. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And almost all of the 8-player games are also like, knockout games or some sort of like. There's not a whole lot of
Mario
co-op,
Party.
like working together towards something, but this is one where you work together. I hope it's good. The reviews aren't bad at all, and yeah, it looks good. At $5, why wouldn't we buy it for DLG Con? Oh yeah, I did like the rope mechanic where it seems like they're all tied together, and that's just like a way they can explore together and not lose one of their friends. So yeah,
Interesting.
it's like was it the one with goats, Bobby? So
Goat Simulator?
stack of goats, goat stacking.
Oh, Ride Your Friends? Or Climb Your Friends?
Yeah, climb your friends.
Mount your friends.
Mount your friends.
Mount Your
It's
Friends.
like mount your friends without all the
With-
dicks, basically.
Without all the dicks.
Yeah.
Would it be DLG Con without all the dicks?
Mount your friends is 8 players. Is that right? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of players.
It's a lot of dicks. At least 8.
So this game's called PICO Park, and it's being developed by Teco Park.
Hey man, I didn't pick it for its cohesion between the developer and publisher.
It's so gimmicky, dude. Who has like something in the group that's also in like the game name or episode,
Yeah.
You guys should play Just Dance at DLG Con. 4 players can play at once. Just to see Emilio and possibly Bobby dance to
Yeah.
like all kinds of music.
Maybe you should show up and then start spouting rules of what we should do. Like,
All right, man.
No
Yeah,
skin in the
all right,
game
jeez.
over here.
yeah. No skin in the game.
Ugh.
All right.
Um,
Go ahead, Nick.
I got a Total War Troy Mythos. A long, I shouldn't say long. It's been like 6 months since the game has been released. A long requested thing that everyone thought they were going to do, but they've announced they're doing because they're launching the game on Steam. When the game first came out, a little bit of like a pre-story, they were like, it's Total War Troy, and all the mythological creatures have truth behind them in history. So, like, harpies were actually women warriors that used daggers that decorated themselves with feathers, and like back then centaurs were people that rode around essentially naked on horses and like things like that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Like a realistic version of all these things.
yeah. Well, nobody fucking liked it. So
It sounded pretty
uh,
lame, honestly.
it was pretty bad. There's essentially only like 2 cavalry units in the whole game, which compared to like all the other Total Wars, that's not good. Especially Total War, Three Kingdoms, and Warhammer. Um, so now they're like, fuck it, let's just put in hydras and shit. Let's just put in stone warriors. Let's just put in like actual giants and like yeah, no, it's like you can get Cerberus, you can get a griffin, you can like there's a bunch of like Troy thematic, like Greco-Roman thematic mythological animals. And then there's also some deeper shit that you never even heard of. Like there's like a Greece version of the terracotta warriors, which were like people made out of marble and they were put on beaches to like trick people
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
things
the
like
thing
that.
that Angelina Jolie fought in one of those Tomb Raider movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, like stone
Anyways,
golems.
yeah.
and,
So
it,
basically, they're taking their real IP and trying to make it a little more Warhammery. Is what I'm
yeah,
seeing.
it's just because the game really liked variation. It was a rock paper scissors thing. So like because they had no cavalry, they only had light infantry, medium infantry, and heavy infantry, and that's all they had. Like that was their like, oh, this is the difference between like really good ranged units, really good cavalry units, and really good infantry. And every other Total War, like even including like Napoleon and medieval, there's artillery units and like all these other different kinds of things. There's not just one type of mounted unit. They're just trying to throw something in there to save it. To be honest,
Dude, yeah, that's what it feels like. But also, I think it's kind of funny that they were like, okay, we went too realistic, guys. So instead of giving everybody horses, which would be too far of a leap, let's go with magic people because
yeah.
that's going to make it all work.
Well, the thing is like they hyped up the original game, and to be honest, I feel like so everyone got it for free on Epic for a week. And now since they're bringing it to Steam and you have to pay for it, they're like, you got to pay for that good shit. You got to
Yeah.
pay for that Hydra and all the other shit. It's
Yep.
there's honestly just a bunch of reskin Total War units that are in the game. I mean, Total War Warhammer units that are in the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this is not going to save this game.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
So let's stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Bobby, what's
Bobby.
what's Jupiter Hell?
Jupiter Hell just came out on August 5th, and one of our listeners, Clown Lotion, gifted it to me. So I'm very excited about this. I ran into this game a while ago when I was looking around for a Doom RPG mod. Now, this is a top-down or more of like an angled isometric view of the Doom RPG. But basically, you're playing through. Imagine playing through Doom, but a turn-based top-down RPG style of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was out there in like beta form for a long, long time, I believe. It's been worked on for, God, I think like a decade.
Yeah, it's a mod, right?
Yeah, it was a mod, and everybody's familiar with it. This is like its official 1.0 release, and it's been pretty well received. I mean, I think people already know what they're getting. There probably isn't huge differences, but from the earlier mods that I've seen, this looks a lot more polished. So I'm excited to check this out.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep. All right, and the last thing I want to mention, somebody else, Warconius on our Discord actually brought this up, and we have a listener question pertaining to it, but I thought we'd bring it up in the On the Radar section. Lego Builder's Journey. This is a game that I had no idea existed. It's a Lego game. It's got that Lego TM on it, but it is a puzzle game. And
Huh.
I'm surprised that it never occurred to me before. Legos are perfect for puzzles. You could make such a great puzzle game with that
I mean, that's literally what they are, is puzzle pieces, right?
Yeah, they're kind of
Yeah,
like
3D
puzzle
puzzle
pieces
pieces, yeah.
themselves.
3D puzzle pieces.
So it's a very simplistic puzzle game based on the reviews that I've read, and it costs $20 and it's very short. So a lot of the negative reviews have to do with the length of the game and what you're getting out of it. They say it looks fantastic and the puzzles are pretty decent, but it's just a little short for the price tag.
Do you think they might be adding stuff to it, or possibly letting modders get to it?
I don't know.
Lego's very like close to the chest for what I know.
Yeah, I don't think they do a lot of that with Lego games.
Hey, Sniper, can we call an audible here and see what Alien Swarm reaction drop is? Apparently, it's another 8-player co-op that's pretty good too, according to Dwight Dynamite via our live stream. By the way, guys, thousands of you listen, only one watches sometimes. You should come check it out. We have a good time over here. You can see our handsome mugs. We have a gam cam that shows our legs all the time. That's pretty hot. So this looks like, well, we all know Alien Swarm,
Yeah,
right?
Alien Swarm was that free-to-play game that Valve released a long time ago, but I guess Reactive Drop is a new version of it.
Yeah.
This was a great little game.
You've played Reaction Guy?
Not Reactive Drop.
Yeah.
I played Alien Swarm when it first came out.
And it's free to play, so that's going to get played. There we go. We'll put that on the list. Sniper, I need you to both make the list and put it on it, please. Since you're going to be there, dude, you got to start pulling your own weight, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
dude,
It's
I've
the
done
sequel.
nothing. I'm just gonna show up and have a good time, right?
It's true.
He's gonna show up in that fucking chair from Grandma's Boy, where the robot guy's like, he's like pretending to do all the work and shit in. He's just gonna go there DLG con in that thing.
Okay, so
Never seen-
Reactive Drop is a sequel to the original Alien Swarm game.
Interesting. Never knew about it.
I
Okay,
think I
so
played Alien Swarm on PS4.
Nick, what is Magic the Gathering Arena? I see this on your
Shut
list.
up. You've been talking to for like the last 3 fucking weeks. It's got my goddamn money pit. That's what it is. I'm essentially throwing money at the Wizards of the West Coast in any other way it can.
I have zero. I mean, I haven't played as much as you in the recent years, but I have zero need to want to give them money. I don't know what. Well, besides the battle pass, what are you
Well,
spending?
the battle
money on?
pass is worth it if you play every day and you do all the challenges.
Yeah, which I do.
I think mathematically, you have to play every day, do all the challenges, and then win like another 4 games to be able to unlock all the stuff on the battle pass.
Yeah.
You get to start from like day 1. It is definitely worth the money if you do play it every day. I draft like a motherfucker. That's what I spend my money on. I think this last 2 weeks, I went 6 and whatever, which is the max wins you can get, and you get 2,200 gems for free.
Sim
Well,
7 is
free.
the max.
Yeah. I got to max wins 4 times out of 8 runs.
Pretty good. But the thing is,
Yeah.
like, so in old Magic games, you could take the packs that you win. When you win tournaments, you get packs. And then you used to be able to trade those packs for money to get into more tournaments. So if you were really good, it was self-fulfilling and you could make money at it. But now it's a closed system and you can't sell your
Yeah.
packs, right, Nick?
No, so essentially what I do is because I'm trying to make my money back, so I'm at least trying to get to the 4 wins, which is the 1,400 gems back.
Yeah.
So I can keep playing draft essentially.
How much is a draft?
And it's
Gem?
1,500, but
Oh,
because of like quests and certain things, you sometimes will just get gems randomly here and there.
yeah.
And so you usually have like that spare 100 or 200 that you need just to play another draft or 2. But like I think I bought in 3 times and I played eight drafts total. So
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very fun.
Yeah,
Chad
and
and I were talking about it today. What's so fun about drafts? So when you're starting to play Magic and you're making pre-constructed decks and stuff, I hope I'm not boring everybody, but here we go. You see a lot of the same cards because the best cards is what you see because everybody agrees on what the best cards are, and people start to put those in different combinations. You don't see the same decks all the time, but you definitely see the same cards in different decks all the time because all the trash cards are just fucking thrown to the side. But when you're drafting, you're just taking what you can get that fits within your baby deck that you're making for this one draft. So you start seeing a lot of the crappier cards used
become really useful.
really useful because it wouldn't be good in a regular game. Just because you're trying. I don't know. In draft, you're just trying to get the win, and that's it. One win. And if it's a one-trick pony, it's a one-trick pony, and that's good. If you're doing a pre-constructed deck, you got to be ready for everything. You got to be ready for all the other all the other meta games that are out there, and think about all these different angles and stuff. But yeah, it's just a one-time deal, and you're trying your best for that one shot. Right.
What's also really crazy is like there's some cards that are like godlike outside of draft that you would never touch. In a draft.
Too expensive. Don't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for example, one's Tiamat, and you have to play all 5 colors in addition to 2 mana. And to get that to like be able to play that in a 40 card deck, because you only play with 40 cards compared to 60, is nigh impossible. Nor is it even worth to play it. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's nice because you see, just as I said, you see a lot of the cards that you don't want, and it's really competitive. Like, did I outdraft you? I know you're playing straight. You're not even like Nick said it last week. You don't play against the people you draft against, which is unfortunate. But I guess in a certain way, it's good too because you're playing people at your level. Because you rank up.
That's one thing I don't like though, because like, I noticed this very much in like the whole like the limited rank thing. Is when I was playing in bronze and silver, I was really actually getting random decks, and don't get me wrong, I was getting some really good people that were making some bonkers shit out of like pennies. But when I got to like gold and platinum, it was like, oh, this guy has 3 of the same card, which no one knows really to draft unless you've done like 1,000 drafts and you know that it's going to be really good in draft. And it's just like, all right, this is as bad as playing limited. So,
well, that's where we're at. Still awesome. How much?
Awesome. Play it.
How much have you spent, Nick?
Like total since it came out 2 years ago, I think $310.
I mean, compared to
Magic.
Yeah, Paper Magic. It's.
I mean, I have a $1,200 deck in my garage right now.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how long that took to accrue. So
yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
And then we all look down in disappointment at how much money we spent on virtual shit.
Well,
let's talk about Back 4 Blood there, Bobby.
Back 4 Blood, they had their beta.
I could not get into this beta, dude.
It was literally the easiest beta to get into.
Yeah, it was the easiest beta to get into.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, there was a link. You clicked on it. I think you put in your email address.
Didn't work for me.
Yeah, maybe you got into it too late or something. And they had closed that. I put a key. A couple people put keys on the Discord.
Should I got in? Was it worth the easiest link ever?
I want to hear Bobby's opinion on it first.
God, I used to always call Chad Bobby and Bobby Chad, and now that I've been hanging out with Chad, I'm calling Bobby Chad. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's
Bobby,
not very nice.
Chad is not in the room.
So the first beta, when that came out, it was really small. It was just one level, and it introduced you to the card system that they had. Introduced you to like the general gameplay loop, which is just like Left 4 Dead. This is bigger. This has got 2 levels, and each of them have 4 parts. You get introduced to the what do they call that now in games where you go into like that waiting area where everybody else is?
Lobby?
Yeah, like the lobby area.
A neutral lobby.
Yeah, like a neutral lobby area where you can go and you can see like, oh, these are the things that I can start to unlock. And you get a bigger picture for all the systemic features of the game in this. And it's looking great. I mean, this is exactly what the game needs. There's so much diversity with the guns too. Everything that I'm basing this off of is a comparison to Left 4 Dead. I still think...
How could you compare the two?
Well, because the gameplay
Interesting.
is pretty
Yeah.
much the same, but
When you said they're each in 4 parts, is it the same thing? You get to a safe house?
yeah, you get
Yeah.
to the safe house, you close the door. Yeah, it's just like Left 4 Dead, but they've modernized it. They've added all the extra little pieces. So now when you're not in game, you can customize your deck. You can earn points and unlock new cards to put in your deck. And as you're playing, we explained this last time, as you're playing this game between rounds, you get to pick a card out of your deck. It's random and says, hey, pick between these 5 cards that you just drew. And you could say, okay, I want to get the 10% extra ammo or the melee or the health on melee kills, or, you can customize your playthrough. You can also get cards that benefit your entire team. On top of that, they've also got this Counter-Strike Go thing happening where you can buy guns. There's a shop in the safe house. You can buy guns. You can buy attachments for them. You can find guns out there too, and sometimes they got great attachments and they're an upgrade. But everything, it's just like Left 4 Dead, but everything from a modern game put in there. It's got like that fun gameplay that, we all played Left 4 Dead 2 just because it was fun, not because we were trying to unlock things or...
But now this has both?
Yeah, now this has both.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think it's fantastic. I absolutely love this. I think it's going to be... I kind of balked at the price tag, $60. That seemed... I haven't spent $60 on a game in, God,
Is this
forever.
the game that does it, Bobby?
I don't know, maybe. Maybe. I think it justifies it because this
Dude.
game is going to get a lot of use.
Did you buy...
So-
go ahead.
Did you, Bobby? So, as someone who always plays these games, especially like when Fall Guys was in beta and all that kind of stuff, did you look at the subreddit's reaction to the whole game?
No.
Dude, they fucking hated it.
This
It was-
game
it-
in its current state?
This game-
Yeah.
Like the majority of people were like, this game's terrible. And everyone's opinion that was there that was negative were like old people like you guys that were like, it's not Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
It's not exactly it's not Left 4 Dead 3. I don't want it.
Yeah, you got a lot of people out there that are going to be hard to please. There is still a huge community playing Left 4 Dead 2. Like if you go on Steam charts and look up Left 4 Dead 2, it's
Top
crazy.
40 games probably, right?
Yeah, it's probably not like TF2 numbers, but still, it's pretty crazy. And when Left 4 Dead 2, don't forget, when Left 4 Dead 2 came out, that was a bit of a shit show too. Everybody was so upset because they said, look, this comes out almost exactly a year after the first one. It's going to split the community, and you're basically you're not changing the game enough to really justify a second one. You're making us buy the same game again, and like you're just going to split the community, which is exactly what it did. But we all just jumped on Left 4 Dead 2 and eventually forgot about that drama. So I don't know. I'm so out of touch with like the gamer community, so I'm not surprised that there was like a negative reaction to that.
Dude, and me and my friends are like, this is amazing. We're going to play this all the fucking time. Like, we can't wait to play this more. We're playing the same levels over and over again. And then everybody's like, it fucking sucked. It sucks so bad.
I
But
wonder
no,
what
like-
their complaints were, like specifically.
Like, the game's not as fast as Left 4 Dead. It's too hard. It's not as fun in the sense of like, it's not as, it's just, look, like that's one of the fucking top like rated things right there. Like it's a whole essay about how some fucking chungo.
Okay,
can't
no
appreciate different
FOV
games.
slider, bad game controls,
Bad
special
game
zombies
control.
or
It's the
bullet
same goddamn
sponges.
controls.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think a lot of people hold Left 4 Dead 2 in such high regard, and they kind of forget, like, hey, it was great, but it was 2009.
Yeah, we got to move on.
Things are a little different these days.
Bobby, how many cards in your deck?
I think you can choose 15. Yeah, 15, and you get one starter card, and then you get to pick, I think throughout the course of a map, like you're going to end up with what, like 7 or 8?
Okay.
And you can maybe on the map run into one where you get like an extra card, or there's other ways where you can accrue more.
Have you seen anything
that-
OP like?
No, but you can definitely build. I don't know. I haven't played it as much to really find that out, but you can definitely try to build towards things. Like you can go for a melee build.
Right.
What's cool too is like I could go like submachine guns. Everybody else is picking up ammo as well. I keep running out of ammo, so I could just put in chat, "Hey, does anyone got SMG ammo?" So there's a lot of ways to help each other out. I don't know, man. I'm kind of. I'm not
You're
really.
spitting.
No, I'm not surprised that there was a huge negative reaction because
Well,
I haven't heard well, from our community, I haven't heard a single bad thing. For
No,
Chi to
one-
say that it was good in that early days, that's amazing.
yeah.
Dude,
One-
so let me sell it to. Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Go
Okay,
ahead, Christian.
one thing that I think these people have a point for is that they did say there was going to be campaign versus when they were like building up the game, hyping the game, and doing dev diary, and now they say there's no campaign versus, and there was never a plan to add it. So I feel like, you know, on top of all these kind of smaller things, people are like, "Wait, you literally did an interview, and now you're saying this?" So,
So wait, a
what's the-
campaign versus mode?
Yeah, where
campaign
it-
versus mode.
like in Left 4 Dead, where it's 8 players, 4 people play zombies, 4 people play rescuers. Or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, because the versus mode, I don't know if you played that, Nick, but I checked out the versus mode and it was different. It was still zombies versus humans, but it was basically how long can you last, and a circle slowly
Ooh,
closes in.
That's even cooler.
Yeah, and the team that wins is the one that can survive the longest, and you play like 3 rounds, I believe. And
Very rarely, if ever, can I think of when players are on the side of the swarm. Right? Is that what you're talking? You're talking about wave survival, right?
yeah, it
but
was
the-
like wave
so,
survival, but you have players on both sides.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When
Gears
when
of
have
War did
players
that ages ago.
who did?
Gears of War.
Well, I think
oh.
the original, I think Left 4 Dead 2 had a mode like that eventually, where you could do that.
It was like an
I
arena mode, yeah.
I do kind of miss the campaign survive or versus mode where you have to get from point A to point B, and I really enjoyed that in Left 4 Dead 2. I figured like, hey, maybe they'll put that in later. I don't know.
They
I
probably
wasn't-
will. To be honest, they probably will. If enough people bitch about it, which it sounds like they are, they're gonna be like, you know what? Here, like, shut up, you fat nerds.
These people can fuck right off. All 1,000 of them that have negative, whatever. I don't give a shit. Bobby said it was good. I'm in.
Here's let me really sell it for you.
Bobby
It's
says
a
3
roguelike.
things are good all year. 2 of them are movies. All right.
But no, it's a roguelike. It's Left 4 Dead with roguelike.
What?
What?
It's what I'm saying is for you, it's like it's a Left 4 Dead with roguelike aspects.
Does it?
I'm trying to yeah.
Because of the card mechanic?
So the card mechanic, and when you die, you restart, but with limited health. You find guns so in Left 4 Dead, one of the biggest complaints is that all the guns feel exactly the same, right?
Well, there's not very many
or-
different types of guns in Left 4 Dead.
There's like 5, right?
Yeah, you got your shotgun, your machine gun, and there's like maybe 2 versions of each of those, and a
Yeah.
sniper rifle.
Yeah.
That's it. In
Are
this
you
game,
painting
there's,
models
like-
right now, Nick?
No, I'm not painting them.
You put those goddamn things down and you pay attention to what we're doing. Fuck.
So you don't. So one of the things is in asshole. One of the things in Left 4 Dead is that all the melee weapons feel the same. All the submachine guns feel the same. Every gun of every category feels the same. This is not the case. There's like 5 submachine guns, like 7 pistols, like 4 different shotguns, 3 different machine guns.
And they
like,
feel different.
and they actually feel different. And the other thing is, like, when you, like Bobby said, you can either take the risk of spending your shekels or copper, I think they call it, for pre-built guns, which they themselves are random inside the box. But the thing is, not everybody can buy them, because if you have everybody running shotguns, that Chungo shotgun shit from the crate, there's gonna be no shotgun ammo for anybody.
Right.
And so you're like, all right, whoever we have shotgun guy, you're the one that's buying it this time, and you can drop money for people.
Oh, money
And
too.
so-
So it's a co-op,
Yeah.
like you said with the ammo, there's some cooperative aspect to
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Exactly.
lots of opportunities to really work as a team on this, which is cool. One thing we got on screen here, they're talking about the gore effects from the original Left 4 Dead games, and I did kind of notice in this one it seemed a little. It was like it was almost like drawn in, like the gore. It was like the blood splatter was just like almost painted on. It did look a little weird. I really don't. It's such a nitpick. There were lots of little things about the game, like, oh, this could be improved, or the UX was a little weird at parts. But for a beta, I was just like, I'm sure they'll figure this out. Like the fun part of the game is there.
Yeah, we have till October, right?
Yeah, and plus the game will probably be worked on. You know, when a game releases these days, it's never like the final form of the game. What I did find funny, so the guy that I always play, I don't know why, but the guy I always play is Hoffman. He's kind of the heavier guy with the glasses, and he's a conspiracy theorist nut. And they've added, since the other beta, they've added in like voice lines where the characters talk to each other. That was a great part of the Left 4 Dead games. Little banter. Yeah, the banter they would have back and forth. But his banter is so like, it would be funny if it weren't like there's actually people that think about this. Like, he starts talking about cell phone towers and like the government doing this and that, and it's just like all this tinfoil hat stuff. That's like
all the crazy people on the news, like, that's me. They put me in the game now, Mom. Like,
you know, there's finally a character that's speaking the truth. Is that what you're talking
speaking
about,
the truth?
Bobby?
Exactly. Somebody's out there
the
telling
gamers
it like it
know,
is.
Mom, the gamers know. They put me in the game. But no. I think there's 8 characters. They all have their own special abilities. The special zombies feel awesome. Like the big fucking... We kept... So my dumb friend group, we always name the enemies after our other friends that aren't playing with us.
That's
like,
good.
There's a Nick. Get the Nick. And it's so bad. But like the big guys with the huge fists, like they feel scary because they just keep coming at you. And they're, like I said, there's so many different but also similar special zombies that it's great.
Yeah,
cool.
There's a wide variety. I mean, in the original Left 4 Dead games, you had a couple of zombies and they each did a specific thing. These ones seem to, they kind of mesh the abilities a little bit together, and there's different versions of them.
Bobby, didn't you buy Cyberpunk for $60? Was that the last one?
No. I seriously think the last $60 game that I bought was probably the first Doom, like in 2016. Like it has.
Did you get gifted Cyberpunk? How'd you get Cyberpunk?
I played it off your account.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I still haven't played it. Speaking of Cyberpunk, do you want your real, what is it called? Night City? Do you want real Cyberpunk shit? Let me introduce you to the Ascent, guys. So I talked about it before, and I totally just thought it was just like this shooter that had some RPG depth to it. And then I get to the quest hub, which is like the main city, and it's fucking awesome. Like the depth they go into in this city, it looks like you're I don't know. It's like the most cyberpunk thing I've ever seen. There's different aliens, different kind of things just hanging out, but not Star Wars-ish, just more cyberpunky than, just about anything. It's like exactly what you think of when you think about it. And you go around and people are speaking different languages, and it's one of these things where you're running around and you're like, how deep is this game? Like, they do a very good job of making a small facade feel like huge, which is like what you want from a game, right? You don't, if it's too big, you're going to get lost. And there's a little bit of that. I was like, I was getting lost from here to there, but you would in a big ass city, even though you're in this small section. And it was taking me a while to see how the city works and who the players are and getting all the quests. And then but eventually it just starts to work, and you're like, oh, this is how I get up and down from the different levels and stuff. But I'm as impressed with the character design and the world design as I am with maybe even more, probably more than I am the actual game. Like, there's just more depth and story than I ever would have expected from this. Like, it's a twin stick shooter, but then you just add the real deep RPG elements, like all this depth, like 3 different armor slots, skill abilities, augmentations, guns, gun attachments. So, we're talking about like thousands of different variations now. And then you go to this fucking world where you're like working for the underboss, and it seems like they have it felt a lot like Total Recall. I was feeling Total Recall vibes in the world I mean, it's fucking dope, man. Just running through the world.
Pretty.
Just running through the world, and I was like, there's this point where I finished the level, and before I got to the quest hub, was like 2 minutes of running, which seems ridiculous. Why would you make me run for 2 minutes? But it was so lush and beautiful in the garbage that's on the ground that I didn't mind it one bit. It was awesome. I just hope the game like holds up. All I know is like I know about an hour of combat and I know about 30 minutes of city time, and that's what I know so far. Hopefully the game keeps building. The voice acting has been pretty good. The story, I'm actually reading the story. I'm kind of into the story. I'm into the lore. It's good. It's good.
It looks really good. I don't know for $40, but it looks really good.
Oh, I
If
did want to
26
comment
are
on
your-
this. So it's a co-op, right? 2 players. When I played it co-op, if I would have got to the city hub with 2 players, I wouldn't have cared very much or had time for all the intricacies and depth that there is in the city. But, playing it on single player, this is one of those rare games that I think, at least when you're in the city, it's better to play single player because it's just too much. It's just too much to all absorb on 2 players. If you had to say something bad about Divinity Original Sin, it's like we're running around in the same city and we're getting 2 different storylines, and we have to talk to each other about what just happened, right? Because we're not all seeing the same information. That I don't know if that's plus or minus, but
I like that it gives you the freedom to do that.
yeah, I don't know how it would have played out in this, but fuck, man, probably one of the best Cyberpunk worlds I've seen. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All right. I've actually been playing quite a bit this week. I beat yet another game. I played
my God.
Vaporum. So I love those grid-based RPGs. Legend of Grimrock 2. Absolutely love those games. Grimrock 2 is one of my favorite RPGs, one of my favorite games. Really enjoyed it. It was really, really hard, though. That game is so hard, and it's very long. Vaporum is a little more like the first Grimrock. It's easier, it's shorter, and it really rips off of BioShock. So if you've never played these grid-based RPGs, I fell in love with these at a very young age. I went to the swap meet, and for $5, I bought a game called Sword and Serpents because I thought $5 and the cover looked cool. That's what you based your
This
buying
guy with the
purchase.
sword with like a
Yeah, it was like, the
naked
artwork
lady
on
on-
those games, like the RPG games was just like, Conan up front with a big sword, some like scantily clad woman in the background and like a little elf and a wizard, it looks so epic. And then you plug it in and it's absolutely ridiculous, pixelated graphics. But that was the first grid-based RPG I ever played and kind of introduced me to that style. And ever since then, like I've sought out these games. There's a few of them I got my eye on too, like Operentia looks really good. But I decided to play this. There's another Vaporum game called Lockdown as well that I think is more recent. But I've seriously been wanting to play this game for years, like 5 years. And I finally did. Now, it is not, you don't have a group of 4 people. You just got one guy. And when I say they ripped off a BioShock, it is like playing BioShock in a grid-based RPG. It's very steampunk. I'm talking about the first BioShock, the underwater one. It's very steampunk. You're running around, you're picking up tape recordings and listening back to them and trying to figure out what happened in this place that is now in ruin. They basically have Atom, but in this they call it Fumium, which is this material that can give people superpowers.
But what part of it is similar?
All the parts. They have these things called golems that are basically big daddies, and one of them is helping out your daughter that escaped, like the little sisters. Like, it's all like really close to BioShock. Now, that being said, I don't care at all. I absolutely love this. I do kind of miss having the 4-person party and getting to manage.
That's what I was going to say. You're just one person?
Yeah, you're just one dude. And you pick, like, I went the tech route. So it was basically like a spellcaster. I used a lot of these abilities and cast what are essentially spells, but it's more of like a steampunk type of way that he does it, not magical, more scientific. And there's, like you can build your character like a rogue or a tank, like all the classic elements, but you don't have that party of 4. And the thing that I do not like about these games, and this always eventually catches up with me, is there's a lot of secrets in these games. There's a lot of puzzles, and the puzzles in this game are fantastic. I really enjoyed them. Had a boss fight at the end, that was great. But these games always have secrets, and you have to pixel hunt for them. You got to go up to the wall, and you got to look every single wall. So every room that I go into, I look at the wall, and I just scan it visually, and I see if there's anything like a little hidden button or a brick that has a dark outline that maybe I can press in. And then, nope, okay, next wall. And you do that in every single room you go to, and it gets pretty exhausting, but you have to do it because the best gear is hidden in these secret areas. So yeah, that can get a little old after a while. But yeah, I can totally recommend this game. It's, if you have not played the Grimrock games, this is fantastic. Again, though, the second Grimrock game, like that one it's like 25 hours long, and there were puzzles I could not figure out. I looked them up to solve them, and I still didn't understand them. Like, there was more.
Oh, what?
Woo, that's humiliating.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I would have admitted that, Bobby.
And the final boss fight in that game is great. But what they did in Grimrock, too, that was so cool, is they opened it up. So Vaporum and the first Grimrock, you are in an enclosed area, like a facility, and you keep working your way down or up a building. But you are indoors the entire time. When I played the second Grimrock, the first level, you land on a beach. You're out in the open, and I've never seen a grid-paced RPG quite
and later
like
on,
that.
you're in the woods. And
Yeah, you go into a forest, and you go into a graveyard. Like, you discover all these areas, and it's more open world. In Grimrock 2, I had to retrace my steps, go back to different areas quite a few times. Like, that really adds to making it more complicated. I'm glad I finished Vaporum in a week, because these are the worst games to go back to.
Yeah, you're not going to remember all the shit.
You open up your map and your map, and you put the little notes in, and you try to like keep track that way. Like, I need a gold key here. There's a switch here that isn't working yet. Like,
you can actively make notes on the in-game map.
Yeah, because back in the day, this was like Zork, where you didn't get a map. You got a piece of graph paper and you wrote it out. Like, okay, I go one step forward in this area, there's a sign that says this. And you would make these maps, and you can look them up online. They have them all over the place for these old school RPGs. But yeah. And I'm sure there's been other RPGs that were open world, but Grimrock 2 was the first one that I ever played that was just had that outdoor setting.
Hey, Bobby, let me hit you with something real quick. So remember a few weeks back, a month ago, I was working nights and I had all that free time. And so every night I would download one game and try it out. And, it's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And the one game that I played was a dungeon crawler like this, and that I really liked. It's called Grim Quest. Of course, it's free. And you pick your class and some perks, and it's very roguelike-y, and you just go at it and try to go as deep as you want. It's very good. I had a really good time with it. Oh, wow. The only thing that I don't like about these free games is, like, obviously there's the give us $5 and
you skip the waiting period bullshit.
No, it wasn't the waiting period stuff. It was more like we'll give you double the gold every time you get gold, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's always that question is, if I play this perfectly with no mistakes, can I really get through it? Or do you have to give them money? And is it worth me going through? I was having a good time, but at the back of my mind, I'm always wondering.
Yeah, that's tricky, especially with mobile games, because the strategy is always they give you the first bit of success for free. They build you up like, you're doing great. You're getting all these combos. You're getting this and that. And then when you're hooked, you're invested in the game. Then they hit you with like, oh, now you need to pay a little bit if you really want to progress.
On the car ride home right now, in the fucking line to get into the United States, fucking Chad was playing another one of those gotcha games, or gotcha, whatever. Gotcha. I was like, dude, and he's like, I know. He's like, what? Here I am.
Leave me alone. I know.
I know.
Wow. Yeah, those.
Edge.
There's a bunch of these games. They got a bundle on Steam that I noticed. Some of them are pretty old, though. So Star Crawlers, that's like a space one. which might be a cool setting, but the reviews aren't very good. And then some of the other ones, The Quest, Here's a Monkey Tavern, those are very, very old. The one that I'm really interested in playing next is Operentia, but
The very first one I ever played, I bring it up every once in a while. But same thing. Found the cartridge. Wizardry. That sounds awesome. Must have fucking
the wizardry games.
Yeah, wizards and fireballs. Nope. It was a fucking really terrible graphics, but doesn't matter. The depth was there, and that's really what we're here for.
I think
right?
like a year and a half ago, I talked about, I was going through an emulator phase, one of my many, and I talked about playing Swords and Serpents again and getting further in that game than I ever have before. But when I got that game, I was super disappointed as a kid. You know, I wanted something a little, with a little more action.
Flashy.
Yeah, but something about the game like taunted me. I was like, I'm not going to let this game get the better of me, and I kind of just pushed through the difficulty of it.
Christian, can we see a little bit of wizardry for the NES?
They made like 6 of those games, and they're on Steam as well.
Are they?
I think they changed from the grid based. I think I don't know. They got a little different, but
this was rough, man.
Oh, jeez.
And numbers would pop up, and
this looks like a screensaver, bro.
This is what we had, dude. We had to jack off to these graphics right here.
Oh wow! Yeah.
I remember it being better than that. Might have been Wizardry too.
Is this the same? Is this one the Steam one you're talking about? It looks a little
Wizardry,
better.
the 5 ordeals.
Ooh, Bobby is peaked.
Whoa!
No, it'd be. I thought it'd be like Wizardry 1, but it does kind of look like a remake of it.
Yeah, it does.
More than 2 colors, Bobby's brain's gonna explode.
We got listener questions today?
Yeah, but we got to talk about.
Don't you forget we have a game of the
week.
Oh,
that's right.
Game of the week,
which I totally played. I did actually play it. You guys go because I played it maybe an hour total, hour and a half, maybe.
You might have really experienced all of it in an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is Verdun. It's a World War I shooter. And when I first loaded this game up, it said I was offline for some reason. So I just played an AI game just to kind of get the feel for it.
Yeah.
And then I got into the multiplayer and got absolutely annihilated because it is a World War I game. And if you poke your head out, you're dead. And then you just do that over and over again until you get sick of it and play something else. I find it funny with these World War I games. They're always very big on the accuracy. And this game is very accurate. It's got all the historical stuff in there. They have some really great voice acting with all the different languages in there. But why do you want to be so realistic on what is arguably the worst moment in human history?
Yeah.
It's just like
trench war.
Remember like the absolute most miserable warfare we ever had? Let's turn that into a game and call it fun. Like, what's the logic in that?
When I was playing it, I was like, if a bunch of historians made a game, that this is what they would make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's people out there that like that type of gameplay where it's like if you see a toe and you poke out and you shoot somebody, they're dead. But that drives me crazy.
Now.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I'll be done pretty quick here. I play on off hours, you know, like I start at like 8, 9, 10 p.m. Western time. And so I think, you know, there's usually 2 or 3 other humans playing these modes when I go in. So I never got the full experience, even though I can pretty much put it together. Like I get it, I think. It's just a slower paced.
Yeah, you know, I played a lot. I thought I'd like it a little bit more because I played a lot of Day of Defeat back in the day. When everyone else was playing CS 1.6, I was playing Day of Defeat. And it was that kind of gameplay, but there were a lot more classes. You could get a machine gun and you could play a little more closer and a little more fast-paced. What I did like about this game was the squad system.
Yeah.
So you join a squad and each member of the squad has different abilities. And I kept getting stuck with the same guy. I guess nobody wanted to play him, but I could call in airstrikes.
Was it the guy with the pistol?
Well, you start with a pistol. I think you actually have to spend some money to unlock different weapons.
Oh.
So there's a little bit of progression in there, which is kind of cool. But I do like how they split up the duties in a squad. And had I been a little more organized and, you know, put a little more effort into it, I'm sure I could have figured out my role and operated a little bit better with my squad. But I don't know, maybe everyone was just running around shooting each other.
Yeah. Nick, you had the best time with this, it sounded like?
I had a great time. I always got the sniper, and I never really play snipers in games like this. But I will say, man, there is usually one or two people that is watching No Man's Land, and those one or two people are like God, because like all their guns are one hit kills because they're shooting like these huge Redonko bullets from like World War One, which are insane. Like a 7 millimeter bullet that's like this big, and it like after the first couple games that I played and I stopped being the sniper. Like running through the trenches, you're like, yep, there's 30 guys down in that line. Like it was either like immediately die or like live to kill like three people and then immediately die.
Yeah,
And
there. I mean, I guess that's one of the selling points is that you're running through these trenches and you don't know what's around the corner, and I guess that's one of the most exciting part of the games.
Yeah. Well, you have
But
to.
most of the time, it's nothing because nobody's on the server.
I do like that they establish a line, like this is where the line is, and that's where all the action is
Right.
at. So, there's no like, I'm going to sneak around and spawn camp or anything like that, really. But you're trying to push up and take a trench, and then you push up and take the next one, and then they push you back one.
Yeah.
There really is an established line that goes back and forth. And yeah, I mean, there's cool things like the gas, and you got to put on the gas mask, and there's
it took
some
me,
good
like,
stuff
30
to it.
minutes
But
figure that out.
Did you guys play the Wave Survival a lot at all?
No, I didn't.
No.
So I played that quite a bit just because like there's nobody playing when I'm playing. And so a couple people were playing that, so it'd be like three of us versus waves of AI. And I thought this was the most unfair thing ever. So you only get one life. Once you're dead, and you leave your buddies. But a lot of times the AI will open with a volley of fucking mortar rounds.
Artillery?
Yeah, and just right off the bat, you said, there's three of us? Nope, there's two. And then you got to watch your friend fucking suffer for the next fucking 7 minutes. It was rough, man. But so was World War One.
so it's-
So it's World War. You
somebody
don't
should
get
make
to
a-
play, man. That's World War One.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see that the guy who made Lord of the Rings made a World War One sequel? Wow, made a World War One movie. and
I've
it's
heard about
called-
it. World War II is much better. They have better bells and whistles.
Graphics.
Dude. Yeah, better graphics for sure.
They no, it's called They Shall Not Grow Old, and it's considered one of the greatest documentaries of all time.
I think I've heard of it.
And it's World War
it's got
One in
the-
color.
remade footage.
Yeah.
And they've put sound into it. They've done all like the Foley sound and dialogue. Yeah.
There's a really trippy part of the Peter Jackson. That's who.
Yeah.
Thanks to identify.
Yeah, I've seen it actually. Now you think about
Yeah,
it.
there's a part of that movie where it's like it's on the screen. It's like everyone that you'll see in this footage is dead, and I'm like, Jesus! Like I totally fucking forgot about that. It's terrible. And then the really daunting part is like 80% of the way through the movie, they're like, and the Germans had something up their sleeves, and it was like the first time tanks have ever been seen on a battlefield, and even their own troops are shitting themselves. They're like, what is that monstrosity? And it's just insane.
It is insane, dude.
It's a great argument against all war. After I watched it, I was like, okay, we can be done. No more war. It all makes sense.
Dude,
This is shitty.
what about the mud? What about the countless troops that just died in mud? And then when they do, the captains moved up and like they died in mud. More troops. Just
Where's
kept-
there 40 guys? Well, 38 of them died in mud.
Yeah.
And then 2 of them died eating the other guys in the mud.
God damn. And we're smirking over here. We're terrible people. This podcast is shutting down. All right, listen to questions. And it's Verdun, not Verdun. I'm pretty sure.
By the way, you're choosing the game of the week this week.
Oh, yeah.
Did soldiers get paid back then?
Yes, they did, and they had to keep their own money in their own notebooks, like how much they were owed, and they had to keep how much time they were on the front and stuff.
They had to keep
Yeah.
track of their own hours.
Yeah.
Not hour, yeah, pretty much. If you watch the Pacific, there's like a solid 15 minutes about it. And that's
Where they just get into the paperwork of the war.
Well, what it is like one of the guys dies, and he's like, "Oh, you have to take Jerry's paper book, and you have to make sure that his family gets paid or whatever the fuck." And it's pretty interesting how they did things back then because nobody's there's no electronic pay books back then or anything, so you had to keep track of your own shit, how long you were deployed for, how many days exactly, and It's crazy.
I know inflation is a thing, but I just looked up. A private got paid $1 a day in World War One. A Canadian private, but I assume those are comparable numbers. Doesn't seem like a lot to die in the mud. Just gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, it's pretty fucking terrible.
Dude, they got mules to pull the people out of that. Mules fucking drowned in the mud too. The fuck?
Dude, I could talk about that shit.
How much mud is that?
all day.
That's enough mud to choke a donkey. That's how much fucking mud that is.
Dude, jeez, you're making me feel terrible.
People had a way, they had better reasons to complain back then. It's just kind of funny that we're sitting here now like, well, I don't know, Bat for Blood, the graphics.
Meanwhile, these dudes were shitting on pieces of wood. It's part of the movie. Like, there's like 15 dudes on a 2x4 that's being held up by other 2x4s, and they're only sitting so the front part of their thighs are on the fucking piece of wood, and they're just shitting, dude. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
it is so gnarly.
I always think of this joke that Aziz Ansari made in one of his newer stand-ups. He was talking about, like this generation. He said, could you imagine what it'd be like if we had a draft? Like, because there was a draft during the Vietnam War, but could you imagine a draft today? Like, that would be wild. Putting like 18-year-olds, like sending them off to battle. I wouldn't trust
the one thing
those.
that I heard the other day, though, it's like the counter joke to that. It's like, imagine being in the mountains of Afghanistan, and you're just sitting there as like 10 millennials jump in with pink hair and blow up all your friends while listening to Nickelback and Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
funny.
it's so bad.
The one that I like, I don't even know who the comedian was. He's like, so there was this war called the World War, and Germany, for their opponent, chose the world. Did pretty good. They lost, but a few years later, they went into war again, and again they chose the world as their opponent. And almost won. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
They had a couple allies.
Yeah, sure.
The Axis power.
Like 4.
The Italians provided. I think the.
Let's not even count the Italians. They had the Japanese.
The Japanese provided like technology, and the Italians provided pasta.
There's crazy footage of Italians, and they're shooting their mortar rounds, and the mortars are landing next to the Americans, and nothing is happening. It's just like, it's not exploding when it's hitting the fucking dirt like it's supposed to, and the Americans are just like, I guess we're staying alive today. It's so bad.
Crazy. If you watch a little longer, you open them up and they're filled with pasta. It's weird.
Pasta.
It's poison SpaghettiOs.
All right. So sorry to all our Italian listeners.
Like, hey, my grandpa switched sides 3 times in that war. Come down.
All right. Well, we got
Ironically, great at street fighting, terrible at wars. I don't know how that works out, but there we go. All right, where are we at?
Okay. Listener questions. First one comes from Hogglefosh. What do you think is the most likely cause for an apocalypse type event? How likely is it to occur in our lifetime?
Oof.
Isn't it the Yellowstone erupting? Isn't that the statistically?
It's funny that I just read something on that. So it's like a point 5 zeros and then 14. So it's like 1 in 700,000 chance of it going off anytime.
Wait, this is a volcano?
Yeah, underneath the Yellowstone.
Underneath like Wyoming.
Underneath Yellowstone, there's a caldera.
Okay.
Which is, it goes off about every 250,000 years, and it's huge, like hemisphere erasing badness.
Oh, okay. Because I thought we were just going to lose Wyoming, and I was like, okay,
No.
with that. Take that, Wyoming. We're after everybody today.
Because it blot outs the sky, and then you can't grow plants, and then
Okay.
That whole thing happens.
Wow.
Fuck Wyoming, we're in California, son.
So that's one that people talk about a lot. Scientists have declared, I'm pretty sure I read this too the other day, that we're good for about at least 100 years on asteroids. They've scanned the entire sky, and we're good for 100
years. I feel like that's
years.
what I always hear about, though, is like an asteroid just missed the Earth by this much. And we could always send up Bruce Willis and Steve Buscemi, drill a hole in that thing, plant a bomb. I think we got that covered. I'm not too worried about an asteroid.
Yeah, absolutely.
that was one of the things that like I don't know if you guys know anything about modern like space shit, but Japan landed on a moving comet and mined some shit from a comet and came back to Earth.
Yeah, the dragon
like,
something or other.
If you think about it, which is like nigh impossible to even comprehend in like 1912, while you're dying in mud.
Yeah.
But it like that shows that we can kind of possibly avoid a dire situation with a asteroid. But yeah, I think they cleared us for like 100 and something years or 100 years, like you said. So.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be global warming. I mean, we're already in it. We can feel it. Every year is hotter. It's already started, and we're not stopping it. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, that's such a slow thing, though. Like, I don't think it's going to be like one day we wake up and the sky is burning. I think it's going to be like a very gradual thing.
Yeah, but it is the most real and the closest. I
Yeah.
would say.
The one thing that's being like said about global warming, and it's like a shot in the dark, like our like quote unquote like actual true mechanical hope, besides changing everything, which no one ever foresees happening, is the ability to suck carbon out of the air faster than we can put it in the air.
Yeah.
And it's like there are areas like I think even Dubai is trying to do that. Like there are areas of the world that like that's their main concern.
Yeah. Hopefully, we can science the fuck out of this problem, but. So far, I mean, I just heard of another thing. Like the Gulf is going to collapse, which is going to be like a glow because of the heat. I don't even want to bring it up. It sounds really bad though. All right, thanks, Hogglefosh. How about we put those questions at the last?
So we've got 250,000 years. The clock is ticking on this volcano in Wyoming.
No, it's like overdue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Could be any day now.
Could be any day, but also 1 in 700,000. I don't know. Whatever that means.
I like those odds. Okay. Warconius asks, what do you think of the Lego games? Is there one that has really impressed you? And he had also mentioned that game, Lego Builder. God, the Lego games, I think they're great, but they get really repetitive after a while. The one that really stood out to me where I realized, they're really taking on a new form was the Jurassic Park one, or Jurassic World one. That's where they had the whole outside area where you go around and see all the things that you collected and run around in the park. And then you could play through all the different movies.
Yeah, it's like a hub, and then you play through the scenes, basically. So I played the Star Wars saga recently, and that has 6 movies, but now obviously there's 9
There's a new
movies.
one coming out, right?
Yeah, it's called the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And it's going to have all 9 movies and complete redos of the first 6. So I'm really looking forward to that. But in general, yeah, a lot of times it's just hard to know what you're supposed to be doing. And you just kind of hit things until you figure it out, and it kind of sucks. But to play with the little kid, it could be fun.
Yeah, I think I only played like one of them for like an hour, and that was with Leslie. But like
Harry Potter?
from what I've seen, yeah. Well, there's Harry Potter, and then she also played the Star Wars one, and I think you said it was 6 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one. That's the last one I think I've seen her play, and that shit looked amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty dated now, but so I'm waiting for that reboot.
I've been thinking about playing the Star Wars ones again.
Just wait for the Skywalker one, man. I mean,
but when's that coming? I've been waiting for a while.
End of the year, I think. I think. If we only had a guy on the 1s and 2s over there.
I don't know if they have a release date for that.
You got that? The Skywalker saga Lego, Christopher?
Have they made a Lego game that is multiplayer online? Is that a thing?
Any multiplayer game? I mean, any Lego games are multiplayer.
Well, via Steam, yeah, they're all.
Well, I guess you could do the remote connect.
2021, yeah, so the end of the year.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. All right. Next question. Another one from Roconius. He says, if you could have a dream vacation home, would you pick seaside, lakes, countryside, or mountains?
I just said the world's on fire. It would be the mountains, dude. As far as away from the ocean as I can get. I've seriously brought it up to Sam. I'm like, I think property value in Canada is going to skyrocket like within the next 10 years because, it's cold up there and everywhere else is going to be really hot.
Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Although Canada was super fucking hot this year, right, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah, we broke records. It was like 45 degrees.
Yeah, but
Celsius,
nothing's
which is
happening,
like-
guys. But nothing's happening. Fucking Florida's underwater, but nobody cares. All right.
Man.
Look it up, dude. Look it up. There's a fucking don't look it up like look up fucking QAnon shit, but I mean look up actual newscasts where people are trying to sell houses, but they're foot underwater, like they're standing
Like
in water.
the Italians.
They're trying to
Fucking-
sell real estate
Wow.
while their feet are in water. Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
so- Don't worry about the water, guys. It'll be gone in 3 months.
Yeah.
And it'll be back in 9. It's okay.
Okay, anyway, I would live seaside if there were no crowds. That's the caveat. Because anytime you go seaside, there's just like a million people. Now, there's some places down in Mexico, right? Where
Yeah.
you can get a lot of space to yourself.
Yeah.
But in San Diego, any place that you go to, seaside is just zero parking and way too many people.
Well, according to Lethal Weapon, dude, if on a just a detective salary, you can have your trailer in the middle of the beach and nobody's going to be anywhere near it for 3 movies at least.
For three whole movies.
Yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah, you just had a trailer on the beach, nobody around them,
Yeah.
in the middle of LA.
Yeah, it's always like that in movies. Like in Cobra, he lives beachside
Yeah.
and he just parks in there and he's got to like push that other guy's convertible a little bit out of the way. But it's just like never happens, dude. Going to the beach and in like anywhere by like a beach area, finding parking is literally like 30 minutes waiting for a spot to open.
You just said move a car, dude, until you just flashback. I just watched Prisoners based on your
Oh, you did?
recommendation. Yeah, we'll talk about
Okay.
it next week.
Can't wait.
Hey guys, we have a movie podcast. It's called Movies on the DL.
And I'm not on it. So
Nick's not on it, so no 40K. just like when like 2 years ago they started promoting no microtransactions as a bonus. Hey guys, we got a Star Wars game, no microtransactions. Now we have this we have a second podcast, no 40K talk.
Are there 40K movies? There have to be.
Yeah.
Like some
no,
animated ones, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and they're all coming out. Yeah, let's not talk about that. All right.
All right.
We really got to start the show.
That's a callback to something that was not recorded and makes no sense, and yet you're sitting there laughing
Because
so hard.
it's still funny. That's why. All right.
Okay.
Like Dynamite, yes, I did hear about the 40K drama. We won't start that, okay?
Oh boy. Next question from Mad Hatter. He asks, Sniper, you were talking about Old World a few weeks ago. I'm looking forward to Humankind from the makers of Endless Space and Endless Legend. Are you thinking about picking this one up?
Yeah, in that same episode, I said I wasn't going to pick it up day one because some YouTubers I follow and the price. I was just going to wait to see where the reviews landed. But do I have news for you? 10 hours ago, they announced they're going to be launching into Xbox Game Pass day one. So I will be playing it. I'll be there. Catch me. Xbox Game Pass.
Nice. When is that game coming out?
Humankind's day one on
Yeah.
Xbox?
Yep.
Yeah, someone posted that in the
They're
Discord.
taking over the world, man.
Yeah, it's a great fucking deal. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't have to take the risk. I like it. It works. It works so well. August 17th for this one.
We're gonna get this. It's gonna come out on somewhere. We're gonna see the headline. Next game to come out on Xbox Game Pass, Steam. Just like everything else.
Just Steam.
Just Steam. Steam's gonna be on there.
All
By
of
the way,
Steam.
I saw the Lord Gaben interview about the Steam Deck, and yeah, they've always been big on being open and stuff like that. So they have no problems with you installing other stores. It's just like one of the things you can do. You can just straight up have Epic Game Store without hacking, modding, anything. You can just run it.
Gangster is that shit, dude.
It's so gangster.
Like you're just like, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
We let you do it. Yeah, that's how cool we are.
He is gangster. Do you know how the Steam Deck was first teased? Did you guys catch that by chance?
No.
No.
No. Okay. He lives in New Zealand, right? And he's at this school in like a gymnasium, and there's like 30 kids there because it's COVID, and they're all like far away. And one of the kids asked him, "What's next for Steam?" And he just someone's recording on their cell phone. Like this isn't official at all, and he just says, "It's gonna really surprise you. Look at what the Switch is doing." or something like that.
Oh.
Totally spoiled the whole thing just in front of these whole kids. Just gangster mic drop for no reason.
And at the
Fuck
end of
them
this thing
kids.
too, the questions were very good. He was a good interviewer. He was a British guy, I think. Anyway, he was like, "Hey, 1 year out from Alex. This is the last question. How do you feel about the reception? How it didn't get Game of the Year, even though a lot of people thought it should have. How do you feel?" And he's like, "I feel fantastic about it, and I feel very happy that it's heading in the right direction that we're heading with Half-Life." And it was just like there's just like crickets for like 5 seconds, and they're like, "Oh, okay, thank you, sir." Just like for him
Can
to
you please
just
get your massive nuts off of our
yeah,
chest, please?
I can't breathe with your massive nuts on our chest. He's starting to look like Jesus now too.
God, him and Dan Harmon, they got a weird look going on these
Yeah.
days. Like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's under the
Chunky
bridge.
Jesus.
Yeah. The guy on the right looks like if he would put on a bear suit, he'd look just like Gaben. Like he could totally look at that. He could totally fit inside of that other human.
Fucked up.
All right.
What's everyone playing next week?
I don't know. I have to come up with a game of the. This 2-week things is working out way better for us. I feel like, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little easier to get enough game time in.
But saying bi-monthly, our bi-monthly game has no snap,
Bi-weekly, you mean?
or bi-weekly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he's painting models and he can correct you.
Yeah.
Fucking
How are you
Christ.
painting them, you liars? It's assembling. There's a difference.
I want to play more of the Ascent and then RoboQuest, man. They're just sitting there. Bobby, I think you really like it. It's better than
RoboQuest.
yeah. It's that game that's better than
Yeah, and I can't play it off of your account because then you'd be playing it at the same time.
yeah.
Which I'm guessing. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that you're not playing Slime Rancher. Is that Mila?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I think I accidentally kicked her off to play Back for Blood because I saw
Get the
that.
fuck off me! I'm playing Black.
I saw that you were playing it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I am 90% sure he doesn't own that game, but I couldn't find anywhere in Steam that said my library was in use, and usually it'll tell me
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I just loaded it
Feel
up.
free to knock her off. A lot of times she just leaves it on. I don't think she knows how to shut it
Okay.
down.
Yeah, that Slime Rancher, I actually like that game.
Yeah.
I got really hooked on
She's
that
got
game
questions,
for a while.
by the way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I played it, but I'm going to be playing Jupiter Hell next week
Nice.
and enjoying that.
I gotta play Warhammer 40k Battle Sector. I still have not played it. So
All right.
yeah.
And then whatever I come up with in the next hour and tweet out to you guys or whatever. I don't have Twitter. All right. Speaking for Christopher, Bobby, Nick, and myself. Shit. Lord Gaben's tits. Bye-bye. No, it's nuts, dude. He's fucking so nutty. He's so brave.
Sold 85 million Switches.
He's
It's
got
doing all
large
right.
testicles.
Well, it's obvious that they've made the right set of trade.
Dun, 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 dun.